Welcome to Create with Chris, and today I am showing how to paint this Valentine project, starting with a rectangle plaque, base coating it with soft black, using an oval wash, putting a nice even coat on. If you start out with a nice even coat, your finished project's going to look much better. Give it a quick dry. I'm using the Ranger heat tool and apply a second coat and let that dry as well. Next, I'm placing the stencil. Make sure it's even from the top and the bottom, and I'm going to anchor it in place with a piece of painter's tape. Loading my spectacular stencil brush with bleach sand, wipe the excess on a paper towel. Too much paint, it's going to run under the stencil. You're not going to get a nice, clean, crisp stencil. So make sure you wipe the excess paint off of the brush. My brushes are extremely soft, so it's very easy. You don't need much pressure, just take your time and let the paint go on smoothly and evenly. Once that first coat is dry, I'm using the same brush because the bristles are so soft. I'm going to use it to base coat the tag with and get the first coat on that tag. Flip the stencil over using that painter's tape as a hinge. It's going to keep the stencil in the correct position. All we have to do is flip it back and it's perfectly placed. And I will apply the second layer of paint, double checking the brush to make sure there's not too much paint. Add that second coat. Look how nice and opaque that has become. And again, light pressure. Take your time and put it on smoothly and evenly. When you are finished with the stenciling, we're going to pull that off of there and it's going to be just perfect. Add another layer of paint to the tag, and then that will be complete as well. I decided to put a little heart on the tag, and I am using tomato red and just going to base coat the heart with a couple coats of tomato red to get a nice coverage. First coat's on, going to heat dry quickly with the Ranger heat tool and add a second coat. Now, because the tag looks so clean and fresh, I decided that a design on it would help make it a little more rustic. Using the script stamp from Grunge Script Stamp, and it just has a nice design on it. Any script stamp would work, or even a scroll stamp. And I'm using the Stays On ink. It's an archival ink. It's permanent. Always gives nice permanent coverage. Decided not to put it on straight. I like that angle. And there's a little bit of space. We'll put some, fill it in with random pieces of the stamp. There's a little curl at the end. I like that shape. I'm just going to stick it in that little area. Wipe the stamp on a paper towel to clean it up for now, and go ahead and clean your workspace as well. Looks like it's going to fit in there just perfectly. The little heart needs some lettering on it. Cupboard Distributing has new conversation heart stencils, and they just fit perfectly on that little heart. I decided to use the word love. You could also handwrite it on or paint it on. And I'm using that same bleach sand, very light coat of paint. Those are little tiny letters. You don't want to get it too thick and heavy on there. It just comes out perfectly. Okay, so that is finished. Now I think the tag looks a little bit too new and fresh, so I'm going to sand it, mostly the edges and the corners, kind of buff it down a little bit, make it look a little more antiqued and weathered. Doing the plaque as well, mostly the corners and the edges. That just gives it a nice rustic look. Gently go over the entire surface, but not heavy on the letters. Don't forget we need to get rid of all that dust, because that black sanded dust can really smudge up your work. Doing the heart just a touch to keep everything consistent, and looks pretty good. Wanted to put some baker's twine on the plaque. I've attached one end on the back with some hot glue, kind of twisting it around. I think I went around about 8 times. And once I get it on, I'm going to take hot glue and go across all the twine in the back. I'm going to flip it over. I have a heat protective mat so I can press it down flat. It's not going to damage my surface. Snip off the loose end. I am attaching the heart to the tag. I love Quick Grip adhesive. It's like super glue on steroids. Put a little dot on it. Give you a little bit of work time. Once it's there, it's on forever. Using a loop of baker's twine to attach to the tag. I'm going to stick it in the front, loop it over the top, and then pull it up. And I'll use that to tie to the rectangle. I'm going to slip it under all those little strands of baker's twine, and I want to knot it because I don't want it to go anywhere. So I'm going to tie a pretty good knot on there to keep that in place. If you want, you can paint the back side of the tag as well, and also the back side of the plaque. If you're giving it as a gift, always looks really nice. I decided to make a double loop bow out of another piece of twine. I'm going to lay it on there and tie it, and then trim the ends so that they hang down nicely. And I'm just going to lay that on there and tie a knot, and that is finished. I love the way this turned out. I hope you do too. A lot of fun techniques in this project. Super easy to create and would make a wonderful gift. So I want to thank you for joining me today. Enjoy your project and make sure you come back for the next time we get together for Create with Chris.